A theme song.
Toys, 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 toys,
family toys,
And TV and movies too. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Toy Duo. We come to you every week at noon to talk about action figures and some other stuff too.
And
Today
TV's
we got
a movie too.
Yeah, TV's a movie too. Today we got Dandy 1981. Say hello.
Hello.
And we got Eric from Sir Eric Brown's YouTube. Hello.
What YouTube?
We're gonna pull the videos on there. Which this was the old thumbnail. It was more like a placeholder thumbnail, but it was kind of like a Happy Veterans Day type of thumbnail is why I kind of put it in there. So Happy Veterans Day to anybody out there who's a veteran or knows somebody who's a veteran. Let them know that, you know, we want to wish them a Happy Veterans Day.
Absolutely.
What's
And
going
there's
on?
Ways of the Sith. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
Hopefully I'm not going to go into a seizure looking at those flashing lights, but
That's what I was trying, and I have Danhausen here to curse you.
all right.
Nice.
Anyways, this is your place for action figure news and I guess debating about whether or not Star Wars is worth talking about anymore.
Yes, it is.
G.I. Joe, all that
Do you
other
think-
stuff.
A
What?
few things, hey, some new things already, just coming out.
I
the
know.
woodwork.
I'm sure you're all loaded up and ready to go. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. I just wanted to point out Gap. He gave himself a medal for being first.
Congrats.
Sunny Sundries was second, or in other words, with the motivational PowerPoint posters that they used to make, you are the first place loser.
If you're not first, you're last.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're second, Sunny. There's no such thing. And then they're deciding it's later. Wait a minute. I woke up too early. They set their clocks back. And so that's Gerard. He's saying clocks went back on Sunday. You know what happened was last week we did a 9 a.m. show, which was 3 hours earlier. And this week we're back to our regular time. So, and there are like some time changes and stuff going on.
Well, they went back. They went back a week before we did, so we were technically like 6 hours ahead of them instead of 5 normally. And then we changed, and now it's back to the normal. Yeah.
Oh, okay, get it. And then
It's confusing.
Again?
Jonathan is here.
What's up,
Lack
Jonathan?
Chirac is here. Hey, Lack, haven't seen you in a while. I actually saw him earlier watching the Let Them Breathe. It was Left Coast Graphics was doing his stream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw Rick was going on. I was gonna try to hop in with him.
Yeah.
Man.
And then Dan's pulling double duty. He's going to do all his talking through the chat this week.
It's my specialty.
Let's see.
Try doing that, trying to keep up with Dino and talking fitness.
Yeah, right. 720.
It's been a long time since I saw 720p.
No, it's actually like the clearest it's been seeing you guys.
You know what the problem is though is StreamYards only allows you to broadcast at a certain point unless you like pay, right? And
Okay, gotcha.
cheapo here is not paying for that.
Yeah.
Talking about paying, if you want to join the channel and become a member, feel free to do so. And if you want a super chat, you can do that too.
Reminds me of those Sally Struthers commercials. Please help Vern get 1080p.
You know, I was wanting to do like a Toys for Tots type of drive and stuff like that, but I just couldn't wrap my head around like trying to organize all that kind of stuff and figuring out how it was going to be. And I set up a bunch of stuff like on like my Amazon page, like a wish list for that and stuff like that. I set up like my PayPal thing in my link tree in anticipation of saying, hey, I'm going to do this thing. If you want to give to this, whatever, I'm going to put some stuff together and then maybe work with the local fire department or something to do something. But I just never got around to it. I think it might be a little bit late for it, but I don't know how that's going to go.
takes you got. I don't know about your area, man, but for us to get those things coordinated, you have to hit them up like months ahead.
Yeah, you gotta start going ahead of time. I know Sleeping Collectibles was doing something. He was going to do like a drive and try to make backpacks or something like that for a bunch of people. But I am interested, and I think I put it in the group messaging and stuff like that. So maybe if you guys can think of like Christmas wish list like type items, we can kind of like highlight some stuff that we think would make like really good Christmases. Maybe we do individuals like, hey, Wade says this is his, 10 best things or whatever that you would recommend, and Dandy can do, here's my 10 things that I would recommend, in case people are looking for some type of like holiday, they have a Star Wars fan in their life, but they just don't know what the heck a Star Wars fan wants because they're only into Marvel. I don't know, something like that. We could do that. Joseph Bett has joined us.
Yep.
Joseph. Okay, so anything going on this week, you guys? Anything new?
Any what?
Anything new this week?
That we got or that's going on?
Anything?
Going to see the Marvels tomorrow.
Well, that's going to sound like fun.
I've been hearing really good things about it. The
I have
Loki
seen
finale was awesome.
I thought it was great. Waze hated it, but
oh no,
I loved it.
I thought it was great.
The cutscenes couldn't save that movie.
What?
No spoilers on the Marvels, please. Go see it tomorrow.
Yeah, the Marvels. No, I haven't seen it yet. So, but I think like the Loki to me, like the first portion that the finale was a total Groundhog Day for me. So yeah. I thought it was hilarious. And then when he says, "How long is it going to take me?" and they're like centuries, I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine having to live through centuries and centuries,
like, physics and whatnot? Yeah.
Just to watch it not work.
It was interesting. It went kind of exactly how I thought it was going to go, though, like based on how the whole season's been. And like,
so I think
I don't know. I like the supporting cast. It was just, I don't know. Yeah. To me, it felt like an ending. To me, it felt like you could have capped this off here and just moved on now instead of like
I think
now dragging this out again with Kang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in a way this is an easy way for them to depart from Kang a little bit because Renslayer at the end sees something, and I think that has something to do with her like moving on and becoming something more. Because in the comic,
she's in that like dumpster universe that he was in, where he found all the other Lokis in season 1.
Sure, but then there was a light that cast over her, which means something came to get her.
It was that monster that was there. It was that storm remember, you got to go back and watch season 1. It's the same thing that like Lokis were going against in season 1.
I can't go back and watch season 1 because it'll be like another Groundhog Day here for me.
I'm not sure if it was Goliath. I think it was. I think they were inferring that it was one of the Kang variants. Maybe
that's what I think.
Because you saw the pyramid and Sphinx in the background.
I almost think it was something even more because she has a really good history in the comic book, so I have a feeling this is her segue into becoming something that maybe we're going to see more of in the future. That's what I think.
I'm really confused because you guys are sounding like they kind of wrote out Kang, but did they or did they not do a reshoot? Because I thought they
there was no reshoot on it. So like the way they left it where you can move forward like and switch it up from Kang if they wanted to, while still having him kind of like the TVA is taking care of Kang. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way they could play it as they're out. But they did set it up for like the Kang War and Secret Wars and like what's coming.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So that they got lucky, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, like the way it all kind of plays out. Loki's basically spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched it.
I haven't seen it yet.
All right, so I won't go too far in, but Loki basically like is the one at the end of time. You know what I mean? Like he's the one controlling everything.
I almost don't think that he was actually at the end of time, like Kang was. Kang was stuck at the end. At the end of time, I think he was actually energizing all the time streams.
Well, like he's in the throne, like where his throne was. was the remnants of that room that Kang was in. You saw the window, like that was still there.
I didn't see that, so I'll probably have to watch it again. But I didn't think he was at the end of time. I just thought that he was like one with time.
Well, he is. He's basically he who remains now. Like that's basically what they did with Loki. So it's like
I almost feel like that he who remains is still at the end of that timeline.
Well, he found a way to like circumvent it, but like Kang said, well, like he who remains said, no matter which way you go, like if you don't basically kill Sylvie and stop the loop from happening, then the war is going to happen. So Loki basically took it upon himself to be the one in the chair and let the war happen, where he could send the TVA basically looking for the Kangs, and then that's where they reference Quantum Mania and the other Kang that they found, and then that was dealt with in that movie.
But at this point, it would almost seem like none of those future timelines that we've seen before ever are going to happen, because every time for centuries that he went back and changed something, it created a new branch.
Mm-hmm. And like, so what he did was all those severed branches, he basically pulled strands of different branches and merged it back together to make a new timeline. So now we have the tree instead of the sphere, and you kind of see that he's the trunk, and then the different timeline strands are the branches now off the tree. But like the way they kind of set it up, and I guess with Deadpool coming, is that the Fox universe is now merged with the Marvel. Like they're the two worlds that are going through the conversion. So it's like they're going to be the ones in Secret Wars. You're going to have the Marvel universe against the Fox universe, pretty much, and like them coming together when it's all said and done for Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they opened themselves up to whatever they wanted to do after Multiverse of Madness.
We'll see.
And like the way they set this up, it seems cool. Like Deadpool's going to be a fun ride, especially like with all these different characters coming back. And they showed up Ryan Reynolds. Like as soon as the strike was over, he showed pictures of the Deadpool doll. Yeah, and like so, like I'm really interested. I'm interested to see if Taylor Swift is going to play Dazzler, because I really like that idea, or if she's going to be Lady Deadpool, because that was the other like rumor, and I was like, I don't want to see her play that. Her as Dazzler is absolutely perfect.
I don't want to see her in any Marvel movie.
I'm not a fan of her. Like I don't really know any
at a concert,
like that. But it'd be cool. It's going to be cool to see like where they go, but they got to come up with something. And to me, the way they set this up and like had this all play out, it's very easily for them to kind of move Kang to the background and bring in Doom, because especially with Loki, sitting in the chair like that and doing everything. Secret Wars, the whole story of the current Secret Wars, not the older one, is that it's very similar. So it's easy to interject Doom into this and kind of just make Doom the big bad going forward.
We'll see how things shake out.
Yeah. And just because, everybody in the chat, just because you hear Waze trying to be the most confident with his theory here doesn't actually mean that anybody else up here believes his theory.
No, I'm just it's speculation based off like what they could do. That's it. It's not a theory, it's not a prediction.
We sat up and made up all kinds of like projections of what was going to happen when they were doing those last Marvel series, and like none of them came true. And I'm just done speculating at this point.
I'm just looking at it from like the logical standpoint of, all right, if you were in their position and you were in their shoes, if you didn't want to go with Jonathan Majors Kang, you knew like Quantum Mania didn't do well. It's a very easy.
That's what I think.
Good recast too.
I feel like after Quantumanium, they knew they were going to shift it up. I really don't know if it has a whole lot to do with his like
situation,
his real life issues or anything.
It's possible because they could have thought of
that Quantumanium just did not draw what they thought, and he just is not the major villain that they were hoping to try to make him into.
Yeah, and I think the in case of emergency break glass is the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Like that's what you have to do at this point to get people back.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if that's what they have to do, but I know they want to integrate them, so they'll have to they're going to figure a way to do that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? I haven't paid attention to any of the marketing for movies and new shows and whatnot's obviously been skint because of the strikes, but for the Marvels is probably the first Marvel movie that I have no idea what the hell it's about. I'm just going to hope to have a good time. This is like the first time I think in all of the MCU I haven't like tried to figure out like what it's about. I just want to go and be surprised.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just watched the breakdowns of it and the spoilers and stuff because I don't really care that much to go see it. So it's
Right.
just, it was just
I
all
want
right.
to
What
see it,
happened with
but I'm
cutscene? All right, I can move on.
yeah, I want to the Marvels, right? I want to see it, but I'm just I feel like at this point it's worth just waiting for.
Yeah, Disney Plus it.
Yeah.
So
Anyways, I want to
do you
address
guys-
some comments.
go
Hold on. So my brother's here. He canceled his Disney Plus and is asking me to share my log on. And I felt like I was going to be on the spot here until Duffman jumped in and said it's a plan. So now I can't share with everybody. So, so that's a no.
No, Vern.
You won't
And
share,
then-
but it'll just stream it on YouTube.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
YouTube. Well, that's what John does while he's painting the room. And then they were talking up here. Lack made a comment about cholesterol, and Joseph Bett was giving him the keys to fighting cholesterol, but he was just joking. And I was like, if you watch his videos and he goes out there with those like sledgehammers, he's in pretty good shape.
I think he's
So what do you
doing all right.
guys? Did you guys hear like the new Mando rumors and stuff now from today?
I haven't heard anything.
No.
So they're
I live in
saying
a bubble.
they're saying that Pedro Pascal is not going to be involved in season 4 other than doing voiceover again. Like he's not coming back to film. He's
Well,
not
that makes
gonna be-
sense. I mean, at this point, if he's going to keep his helmet on like all the time or whatever, if he's actually getting
Well,
to
now
a
you
point-
have to because
Right,
there's no
like there's-
way.
and to coincide with his schedule, because I'm pretty sure he's a busy person and he's
Yeah.
probably got like a lot of opportunities coming up. There's no reason for him to put that suit on and walk around on set.
They're saying he's got Gladiator 2 that he's filming, and then Last of Us season 2. So
Yeah.
there's no shot that he's going to be there for Mando season 4. And I was like, that looks bad. Like I get it. I get the whole like, that's what he did last season and whatever. But it looks real bad when at the end of season 3 his comments were, well, yeah, you can kind of pass it over to Bo-Katan if you want to. And
Right.
I didn't really like wearing the suit. I tried
Sure.
it season 2 and it wasn't for me, basically. Like, it's kind of like, all right, well, just kill Mando at this point when the movie comes and be done with it. Like, do season 4, kill Mando in the movie, and just kind of move on at that point.
Right. Captain Spaulding jumped in. Gary's Grills is here. Chronicles is saying Pedro's looking for easy money. The Last of Us is coming back. I heard
But
that.
that's only a
what?
season. He's like, if you guys are familiar with the game, like he's not around much in the second game. So
Well,
it's not
I was reading today that Hasbro was talking about how Netflix is fast tracking the production of the final season of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, I think the writers came back, they finished that up. And honestly, I bet you those two guys, the Duffer Brothers, were just working on it, right? Like
well, they said they had it like pretty much wrapped up and done before the strike happened. So like they were already ready to go.
Yeah, but I bet you even during the strike,
yeah.
they were like, yeah, we're just going to tighten these up. And then they're ready to go. So as soon as the actors got there, they did that. There's a lot of stuff coming out. And I just wanted to make this comment, though, before we move on to something else. I feel like if I think about like all the movies and stuff that are coming out, are we perpetually just rejuvenating everything from like the 70s and 80s? Has like creativity just like ended after 1989?
I think there's some stuff coming. Like we have a lot of cool new Star Wars coming this year.
Okay,
it's just,
based on something from 1977. Okay, so we're reliving. There's no new idea.
It's not true. I heard they were coming out with a new show
is
called The Fall Guy. That looked pretty
Okay,
cool.
well, 1980 something.
They got Zack Snyder's big Rebel Moon coming, part 1
Which
and
is
part
based off of Star Wars.
2. Yes.
Okay. What else? Give me an original, brand new idea.
The creator came out earlier.
Yeah, and that was actually very good. I just finished Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, and my God, what a fantastic show! Like that was something new. It was Edgar Allan Poe work that they reworked around, but fantastic show.
That's the creator.
No, that was Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of that's an Edgar Allan Poe story though. Was that done before? Is this like a remake?
No, it's Mike Flanagan who did like Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House, all those like Netflix shows.
Because the only thing is I've been seeing all the Agatha Christie movies pop up again. I just saw that, like Dan said, The Fall Guy again, right? It's just like it's like I don't know. I can't draw from my recent memory, maybe my short-term memory. What is something, well, besides like maybe Loki, right? Like, which is based on comics or whatever. But like, what is something new?
Well, like Eric said, the creator is a whole original idea and actually very, very good.
What is this creator?
From Gareth Edwards, the guy who did Rogue One.
Rogue One.
And what's the premise?
It's basically like an AI civilization, and that's kind of, I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but it's kind of cool. It's like,
but you can give a premise, like they show movie trailers.
Against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence, a former soldier finds a secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child.
Yep.
Okay, Blade Runner.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
But you're just gonna pick everything. Like it's like you're just gonna find ways to draw anything to anything basically at this point, just to prove your point. I mean, I get it. Yes, there's some things. Especially if you watch.
I guess they didn't call it Blade Runner. Yeah, and they didn't call it.
But if you watch the South Park special that they just did, like with Disney and everything, like the nostalgia.
I didn't see the movie.
Kind of fun. Yeah.
So what you're talking about? So I didn't see it, so I can't spoil anything. So I'll just say, like, okay, there was robots have become sentient or whatever, and now they're able to procreate.
No.
I haven't seen it. I actually missed it in theaters. I need to wait for it to come on streaming.
No,
I'm really excited to see it.
Okay. Yeah, it's more trying to think, what was that Matt Damon movie, Elysium? Was that what it was? Where
where he had all the parts built into him?
Yeah, it has a little bit of that mixed in. It has a little bit of Terminator. It's a little bit of Blade Runner, I guess. It's cool, man.
Okay. I mean, inspiring a future franchise, I don't think is like a copy of it. I'm thinking more like a reboot type thing. But it sounded like Blade Runner. They just renamed it, but
when it's done right, it's not a bad thing. Like, I think Ghostbusters Afterlife was really good, and I'm really excited for the new Ghostbusters.
The Crimson Ghostbusters up there look good.
So the new one looks really good. Like I was very impressed with that trailer and the fact that, like, all right, yeah, it's an older property that they're taking, but it feels very new and fresh compared to like even the Afterlife one. Like Afterlife, you still had a lot of nostalgia to it. This actually, like, it's shot beautifully. The special effects look really good in the trailer. It just feels different. Like you're still honoring that past legacy of Ghostbusters by having them involved in the story, but you're moving the franchise forward, which is something that we want to see for Star Wars that we keep saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like
if it's an expansion on the existing like universe, that I think is better than just like, let's take existing content and just reboot it or whatever. That's where it's like an unoriginal thing. Like you see that with like a lot of the Disney live action films. And granted, a lot of the Disney animation, like that's why original Disney animations are like based on like fairy tales and whatnot, are sort of like derivative in and of themselves. But
did you guys watch Blue-Eyed Samurai?
No. I haven't heard of that one.
It's on Netflix. It looks like a Disney animation almost, the way like it's drawn and animated. But it was very adult. There's a lot of
Here, you were trying to swipe me. Hold on here. Try again.
There's a lot of nudity in it for whatever reason with animation. But it was actually like really good. It wasn't. It was like an old Japanese trope of you know, the samurai and the shogun, and it was really, really good though. Except for I had one like little thing with the ending, like where I was like, what a stupid decision and like way to end the show. But it was good. It was actually really good, and it's an original type thing. It's just, you know, fits into that trope of like the shogun and, you know, the Ronin.
Okay, Lack is saying we should all watch Deadwood, Longmire, and Yellowstone. Show of
Deadwood.
hands. Who has not seen any one of these?
I haven't seen Longmire or Yellowstone, but Deadwood, what I love.
Oh my gosh, dude! You haven't seen Yellowstone either?
No, I haven't watched any of them. The 1887 or whatever the other two are either. I haven't
You haven't
watched
seen
any.
Longmire?
No.
Did you see Deadwood?
Yeah, I watched Deadwood.
Okay,
I love
and
Deadwood.
you've of course seen Raylan Givens as U.S. Marshal, whatever, right? The Justified.
Yeah, Justified. Yeah, and that's the new one looks good.
The Paramount just came out with that Bass Reeves Texas Lawman or whatever.
Yeah.
And they did a 2-episode drop last week. It's pretty good. It's the story of a guy who escaped slavery into the Indian lands, and then later after the Civil War, he becomes a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly he's what they used for creating the character of the Lone Ranger, because like he is so prolific. He had in history, he actually captured like huge numbers of, you know, outlaws and stuff, and not just like your regular outlaws, I guess, like the tough ones. And he spoke like Indian languages, so of course, like, you know, the Lone Ranger's partner and stuff like that. So he's kind of loosely, and that's on Paramount. That's the same guy who made Yellowstone.
I love Westerns. I really wish like they would do more. There's been a while since like we've gotten some really good ones. The last one I saw was the one with Jonathan Majors that was on Netflix. I love that. I thought
what was that called?
I forget the name of it. But it was really good. He was in it. The guy from Haunted Mansion was in it. The cast was like phenomenal. Zazie Beetz.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Blue Sasquatch. It is live.
Really, really good.
Blue's here.
That the last Western I saw was that one with Nicolas Cage. They were like, "Oh, Nicolas Cage has never made a Western before," and then he made his own Western. And I felt like it was kind of like that old John Wayne one where they had the kid in it and stuff like that.
Well, that's what they do a lot of. They reboot a lot of like the Westerns. Like they redid 310 to Yuma. They redid that one with Matt Damon and Haley Seinfeld, True Grit.
That's what I'm talking about. That one with Cage reminded me a little bit of that, but it was a different kind of a story. But the way the character kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It's not very historically accurate. He was an outlaw through and through. They wanted to make a film of a famous cowboy.
Yeah.
I don't think he was actually an outlaw. I think he was a U.S. Marshal who was brutal, and he killed a whole bunch of people in the first couple episodes. So,
wow.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. Like I like when they go back and do Westerns. There was a really good show on like years ago. Steven Spielberg did. It was called Into the West, and it was like 7 episodes, but they were like each like 2-hour episodes, and they all took like a time jump. So it was almost like Yellowstone before Yellowstone, because it was like following this one family and their generations progressing through like the Old West. It was cool.
Yeah, Lack doesn't like the remake of the 310.
Yeah, I like the remake. I like 310 to Yuma. I like True Grit too, the newer one. That was good.
To his point, though, and yours, Vern, I mean, if somebody wants to revitalize an old character like the Fall Guy or that Quantum Leap show, I didn't watch it, but if it was good, if it
Quantum
was
Leap season 2 has been pretty good.
Okay, so I'm all for, you know, bringing new life into those classic.
I agree.
Kind of revisit them. But they got to do it good, you know. Don't
like that Starsky and Hutch was horrible, by the way.
What's that?
Oh yeah. With Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
Yeah, that was awful. So, but if you watch the trailer for the Fall Guy, somebody said it was kind of earlier, right, in the chat. And the first time I started watching the trailer, I actually stopped it because as soon as I saw it was Ryan Gosling, I was like, oh man, I'm not watching this. And then I kind of gave the trailer chance, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, if there's nothing else going on in March, I'll probably see it.
Yeah.
But at least on digital, it'll be a fun movie to watch.
I definitely recommend if you have not checked out that House of Usher, watch that on Netflix. It was very, very good.
That looked like kind of like some backhanded stuff going on in that.
It's almost like Succession mixed with like Deal with the Devil type thing. Like it was really, really good. Like I watched it twice. Like once I got through with it the first time, I watched it back again. Mark Hamill is like incredible in it. And Carla Gugino plays like Death / the Devil. So she's like in the whole entire series. Really, really good.
All right.
What was the name of that one you were talking about again, Vern? I forgot already, man.
Which one? Bass Reeves?
The one with the you said he killed a bunch of people right off the bat.
Bass Reeves.
Bass Reeves.
It's on Paramount. It's on Paramount.
Paramount.
I'll have to check that one out. I actually just canceled my HBO Max and switched over to Paramount because Vern kept saying how good it was. Peacock is still like hands down, I think, the best one that's out there.
They got a lot of stuff because they have all the Bravo shows.
Yeah. Oh well, you love that. Yeah. You won't watch an animated show, but it'll watch Real Housewives.
Blow that.
You love your Andy guy, right? Is that what it is? You like his actress?
Actually, it's so funny because there's so much stuff out there that I haven't seen yet, but for some reason on that Peacock, I was like, "Oh, Grimm's on here," and I just started rewatching Grimm, and I'm like,
"That was decent, wasn't it?" When it was on,
I liked it when it came on. It got a little like over the top towards the
out
end.
There.
Yeah,
Supernatural did too. And Supernatural should have ended like multiple times before they got to the end of that.
Yeah.
That was another one that like they dragged out. It's still a good show, but it's just like, all right, guys, you got a little too far.
Right. All right, let's do the HasLab update. I didn't have last week's because I didn't take a screenshot of what it was last week, but I know over the week it got the first tier, right? So it's last night it was 13,418. I don't know what it is today, but it definitely secured.
I'm on it right now. I was checking it. Meanwhile,
it surprised the hell out of me. I didn't
13,570.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't doubt because of how many people backed that
19,000
so
proton packs.
Yeah, so you figure that like you were going to get everybody who backed the proton pack to back this. Like it's kind of no.
That was their logic. I guarantee you that was the logic behind setting the third tier to like 1,000 below the proton pack backers.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think with props for Ghostbusters and props to Hasbro for the props, I guess, right? Like I think this is their market right here for Ghostbusters.
The figures, like we were saying, didn't sell, but the live action, role play stuff does. And then
I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro started selling jumpsuits on their website under the Hasbro.
I haven't they?
Yeah,
right? It makes sense. They could totally launch it with like the crimson ones, right? The red,
and do your custom, like do your own little, type your own name in and custom name patch it.
Yeah. I need to get my jumpsuit. I've just been holding off on that because I have the proton pack and I'm backing this, and I didn't do it for Halloween this year, but I plan to do it moving forward.
All right. I don't think we said hi to Brian from Action Figure Reviews. He's here.
Brian's still in the hospital too, by the way. So everybody wish him.
Man, you better get better.
Getting out of here.
Oh,
he needs to get out of that place.
Yeah, he's been in there a couple weeks now, so he's been itching to go home. I'm sure.
I can only imagine. He's like, "You're all my children." And Dandy wants a jumpsuit in orange.
The thing for me was like when Super John brought up that like that's an actual working PKE meter, then like that sold it right there. It's like, all right, well,
that's when as soon as he mentioned that on the Toy Duo is when sales for this thing skyrocketed.
It backed right away, didn't it? You know what I mean? Like, once he said that, because I didn't see that advertised anywhere. So once he like brought it up and showed that it was like listed on the actual thing, that it actually worked, and then a regular one's $200 like normally, It's a no-brainer to buy this. You know what I mean?
On top of that, it also does the taser mode from Afterlife.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
And I want to see a real ghost hunter use this after they get it.
Yeah, I want to see one of you guys set up at a real haunted place and see what you find.
Right.
Like, you got to test it. You got to see if it works.
All right, and then let's talk about this Super 7 Cobra mothership. It was previously at 1,412 backers, and as of last night, it is at 1,431 backers.
Nice, moving along.
This is
still got 31 days, so at least they make it super long, right? Like,
I don't see the appeal in 3.75 Joes anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you classifieds is kind of just blowing them out of the water. It's like there's no market for them anymore.
So that Ghostbusters, the PKE meter and the trap, I think the props are really cool. I would have wished they would have done like a 1-to-1 scale like Slimer. That's what I was kind of hoping it was going to be. That's why I kept saying it. But
I think you still would have been limited though with like how many people would have backed that. You know what I mean?
That eats up a ton of. That would eat up a ton of space, and that'd be extremely niche.
I think if you have
even with the marshmallow
pack, though, and if it like lit up or something like that, you'd have a lot of people that would want. You know,
it'd be cool, but
everybody with a car would put it in the passenger seat.
But I think when you look at this stuff, this is a no-brainer, because I think when the Proton Pack came out, it was the best Proton Pack you could get, without making like a custom one yourself, right?
Well, it even beat those out too. Oh, good.
Well,
Brian.
value for money, probably the best Proton Pack out there.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's why I said this is. You got to kind of figure that's what they were looking at. Is like, all right, whoever backed the Proton Pack is going to back this more than likely. Yeah. So my whole thing was, I not that I didn't think it was gonna fund. I just couldn't believe, like, honestly, the balls on Hasbro to drop another HasLab right before the year was over. You know what I mean? It's just they
have to. I wouldn't doubt if they had one more up their sleeve.
Well, Transformers.
What other property? Transformers. Oh, shit.
That'll be in January again, probably, like beginning of the year.
A week after this one ends,
probably.
When's this one end?
30 days.
30 days,
December 12th.
So right for Christmas.
Shit, there might be another HasLab right away. Then I don't like that. I wish they'd figure out a way to. I understand, like, but I think at the same time they're not realizing how many people collect multiple things. And it's like, who's got thousands of dollars to put down for HasLab?
Until more projects fail, they're not going to space it out further, right?
Yeah. Unless they start like fumbling over each other. But if you got them all and they're all like backing, they're definitely going to hit it up, because
they'll keep pushing it.
When they get their quarterlies earnings statements and they can factor these in, it's just a balloon for them.
Oh yeah, especially when you're factoring in like another, couple $1 million project that's just like boom, 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 boom. Like, I'm sure their ad revenue, their revenue at the end of the year just from the HasLabs alone is insane. So
the one thing I wish is, and maybe this is just something that they'll follow up on later on, but there's the goggles. I wish they would have included in this.
That's next year's HasLab.
and that like random kind of doohickey that hangs from the belt. That's like,
they're going to do that. Those two things together next year.
Or something from the movie. My guess is they'll debut like a new Proton Pack in the movie, and then that'll be next year. So, I don't think
I think it would be kind of like. I don't think that them doing a second Proton Pack as a HasLab would work.
I think they should take what they should do is take pre-orders for Proton Pack and run it into production once they hit whatever minimum threshold. Just leave it open. Don't commit to it until it hits whatever, and just
like a different kind of a model than the HasLab.
Kind of like what they did with the Boba playset. Is like they just left that as an open pre-order, but they kind of took an account of how many they were going to make.
Or like the
no,
like
I would.
Super Seven's doing.
I wouldn't even go that far. I'd make it stricter and just make it so that Hasbro doesn't have to commit to making it until they hit a minimum threshold of orders, right?
So
because
they would just leave it open
because it takes
continuously. So like if I
yeah.
ordered one today, it could be 7 years before the
Yeah.
commitment gets filled.
Well,
and
maybe
then I don't even want
maybe
it
they
anymore.
maybe they time box it a little bit, but I would like to see other people get a crack at it because I've seen like
people that passed on it and now they're
not even people that passed on it knowingly. They're like people I see online. Like,
yeah, there's new collectors joining every time.
Not just that. There are people that don't even wouldn't even know that Hasbro had a license.
Yeah,
and
that happens.
Hasbro has Hasbro Pulse, and Hasbro Pulse has this thing called HasLab.
No, I get what
where they
happen
to make.
Yeah.
So I just got rid of my other Fox Sentinel, and the guy who picked it up just started collecting like right before the Galactus hit. So he's been looking for the Sentinel, right, for his collection. So he just happened to be able to get a brand new one in the box. But I'm like, I understand the concept, but the problem, Eric, is that they haven't yet done that with the HasLab.
No,
they've only, that Boba Fett playset was like the closest thing to it. Was like
what I'm saying is they haven't
done a second run of HasLab
and then made it available again, right? That so when they cross that bridge,
they better not.
I think the HasLabs are done.
Well, and what we've already kind of heard rumored from Joe's is that there could be a HISS tank that goes out on its own without all the add-ons. So if they do that, then you're going to see that happen with other brands.
That may be the first bridge that they cross. And you know what's interesting about this idea of a no frills HISS tank, right? Is something similar to what Ramen was talking about last week with that van. That van is very no frills. It's basically like the shell with the impressions and stuff of the floor with the driver and passenger seat, and then the doors open and close. But nothing fancy about the wheels or whatever. It's probably just a metal rod with like the wheels attached to them, like you would have got those plastic whatever from before, whatever they were.
Yeah.
So not super expensive. So if you get a HISS tank that's like that, it's the same scale. It, on the outside, kind of looks the same, but doesn't have like lights and whistles or whatever. But is that crossing a line?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
See, I don't. I would be okay with that, especially because you're not getting any of the other stuff that everybody got with the HasLab. It's not going to have the electronics.
Yeah, but the thing is, all that other stuff was tiers. It wasn't the HasLab. The HasLab was the HISS tank.
Yeah. You guys still do that and look at the tiers as like being an add-on. It's included in the price.
But go back and watch like the videos, right? Like even my rants or whatever. The idea is, and we always talk about on the show, is that base offering should be the value for what you're getting into that HasLab for. And I think, especially in that case, everybody was kind of in agreement that the base offering was sufficient and didn't need all those extra figures. It was kind of like the Dragonfly, the base offering was enough.
Well, the base offering for the Dragonfly was also $100 cheaper.
Right, but it was enough. And it was like the Engine of Vengeance, where we were saying like the base offering was nowhere near $350. You know what I mean?
That's what I felt with HISS tank too.
So to say you're going to be able to now have a retail version of the HISS tank that's maybe doesn't have the lights or whatever, but it's still going to open up. Obviously, you got to put your people in. It's not going to have an extra canopy. Maybe it doesn't have.
You're not going to get the driver. You're not going to get all the accessories.
Well, you don't know. Yeah, you probably are going to get a driver. You probably will, because when they sold that small one, he came with a driver. You see the Vamp's going to come with the driver. So they're not packaging vehicles by themselves. They're going to package them with a figure. And once they do that,
you're not getting those exclusives anymore.
Yeah, they've reduced the price of that base tier, and then now they've made it available. I think if they do that, they're crossing a line.
I would almost feel better if they sold the tiers.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get the trooper or the driver or something and have that as a separate, that way you could expand your collection, right? And people
almost like almost like what
Well,
they
Rick's
did with
saying
the
it's zero
Hasbro.
chance it hits at retail, but Rick, they actually said it in one of their streams that they were talking about, you know, and I think it was a conversation because they were talking about that Vanguard, right?
Yeah.
Is why they were like actually saying we could do it better, whatever, and we could just do this. But I think that might have been an off the cuff comment because I think that somebody else is probably telling them if you do that, you're taking away the exclusivity of the HasLab and the whole reason why we do the HasLabs in the first place. We told everybody that HasLabs are dream projects that we can't do for retail.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
then to do it for retail just makes them public liars. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're going to get a lot of flack for that.
Yeah, I get it. At the same time, though, to me, it's not crossing a line if it's not the same exact item. Like you're taking away from the item.
And that's what everybody tells me. Oh, it's semantics, Vern. It's semantics. You're just like playing with the words. It is the exact same item.
But if you are
it's
not
a
having
scale his tank.
But if you're not going to have the electronics in it, and you're not going to have the weapons attachments, you're not going to have.
They're going to use the same molding system. They're just not going to insert the things. So guess what? When you get your retail version, just cut out the little piece of plastic that doesn't have a lens on it, and glue on a piece of clear plastic, and put an LED light in there.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it different. It's not the same.
It doesn't. Yeah, but it's not different.
It is because it's not. You're not having those
changed
electronics.
The design or something like that, made it smaller.
It's like,
I'm just not getting in the middle.
They're going to be in for a world of complaining.
You know, I just don't. Fair.
Toys are for enjoying, not for investing in.
What's up, G-Force?
Yeah.
So like exclusivity and whatnot.
That's not an exclusivity though. It's like a dream project that they can't bring to retail. Now, here's where they
but if they do another round of HasLab, like what I was suggesting with the Proton Pack, just like accumulate orders and then run it and then run it into production when they get a minimum order count, right?
So
like,
I think that
who cares?
I think that they are going to test that theory of doing a second version of a HasLab, and I think it's going to be the sail barge.
They should.
That's what I think is going to happen. But it's going to be a second HasLab. It's going to be like, yeah, it'll be a HasLab rerun is what they'll call it or something.
I don't see Black Series. I don't see Black Series getting another HasLab, honestly, at this point. Like
that was a vintage collection.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though. I don't think they're going unfortunately, like for people like, I don't collect 3.75, but so for me, it's like if they don't do another Black Series HasLab, I'm not buying a HasLab. You know what I mean? Like, so
I think, I almost feel like nowadays you don't really need it. Because there's other people who are willing to like put stuff out there.
Oh yeah, and that's what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago about like the people that are doing these files and doing these things that are allowing us to expand our collections. Like I have things in my collection that Hasbro would never do, and it's like thanks to these other people that are designing these things and creatures and like I can go get the Howler that was just in Ahsoka and get one printed and paint it and. Yeah. Now I have creatures. Like I like that. I think that's something Hasbro should be doing. It's just they're not.
So G-Force is agreeing that with me, kind of that they shoot themselves in the foot. They won't ever get another successful campaign. Jonathan saying, well, technically none of the HasLabs have been dream projects, which I totally agree with. Now this is what I really think that they should do moving forward with the HasLab project. I think what they should do is do something like we want to make a 24-inch Giant Man, and we need 5,000 people to back this thing. Once it's backed, we're going to do we're going to do the backers and all the people, but we're also going to have like, I don't know, special order or something like what Eric says, where we're going to do a production run every year if we reach a certain number of people. So that like it'll just remain as part of like a back end production type thing. And I don't know how hard it is for a company to do that, but let's say it funds, right? Then they already have the molds and everything. They don't have to go to waste. They can keep it open. once it gets to another 1,000, they'll just do another production run or whatever it is, like down the line, or they just have it a year. If you get 1,000, they'll do it. If they don't, then they won't, right? So that means like you leave your money in there or not. So that it's just an open-ended, I think is what Eric was talking about, idea, because the idea of the funding is just to create the ability to make it. Because honestly,
it's just that window.
Yeah, because honestly, I think that they have the molds for the His tank. I think it would be a great idea for them to be able to produce them, mass produce them, or whatever for people who missed them out and just leave stuff out. I just think they're going to run into that kind of a problem because they weren't upfront about it.
My argument is if the demand's there, right, and they can and they are afforded whatever flexibility with the production schedules, then just fit it in when you can. Like, it doesn't mean like once it hits whatever minimum threshold of orders, start producing it now. It might not go into production for another like 10 months or whatever, right? Whenever capacity frees up, but like they'll say, oh, we hit it, we're gonna plan it, and then once it hits that threshold, they'll give an end date for when they stop taking orders for that run.
I still think the model, I agree with what you're saying, but I think the model idea that they did with the vintage collection throne room is the better way. It's like, hey, we're going to put this up a year in advance of what we're going to do. We're going to put this up a year ahead, and then we do need X amount of people to buy it, but we're going to leave it open as an open pre-order.
I don't think they had a minimum requirement. They were going to do. If I remember correctly, they just
extra window. They gave it like a longer window before it went to actual production.
It was make to order.
Yeah, it was intended to be a HasLab, but then they realized, oh, they're not going to do that, and then they just opened it. But they always intended to make it, even if like there were 20 people that bought it.
Yeah, but like again, doing it along those lines, I think is the better option for them. Doing this like thing, kind of help.
But with that His tank thing,
order it now.
Yeah, I think that the idea is they haven't said that ahead of time. They created a project and said you can only get it now. Yeah, this is our project, and for them to go back on that a year from now, let's say, I think is a bad move.
But I think it's simply because they realize that we can do this at a retail level.
They can do it. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like HasLab should be, hey, we want to develop this project and we want to get this going, but we can't invest all the money into like the production. So if we get these backers, it's going to be, we can move it into production. It's kind of like what the mothership thing is doing or whatever on Super 7, right? They're not going to invest all their money to mass produce this thing that they're not sure thousands of people aren't going to want. It's almost the same thing that we heard last week when Ramen was saying, he was like, I want to do these figures or I want to do this, but I have to hit certain numbers to be able to do it. And to make it cost effective.
That's reasonable from a company standpoint. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think like if you combined almost like what Eric was saying and what they did with that TVC throne room, I think you'd set for other projects like that. So if you were going to have your HasLab projects for the year and you were going to have 1 or 2 or 3 of these other side projects on Pulse that are just Pulse exclusive fan back projects, I think you're fine in that regard.
But you do realize like there are people that are not going to back a project if they think they can just get it later.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but like again, like I keep saying over and over, if you're stripping things away from the initial HasLab, it's not the same product.
Yeah, but the problem is it is the same.
And
between what you see and what I see are 2 different things.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm. It's semantics at that point.
Yeah,
and it's
on your part.
But to me, it's not a difference. Like you're actually making.
If they're using the same molds to make it,
I get it. We went through this already, but I'm just saying it's all about perspective and who's gonna so what? People are gonna bitch, but guess what? There's gonna be people that are gonna buy it. So are they gonna want to
watch out because there's some people that are after them.
Yeah, but who cares? If those companies are nowhere near what they are, and that's simple as that.
So here's a question. they weren't going to make this unless we succeed with the HasLab, right?
That's correct.
These people that back it,
right?
Pretty much, if they put something in the agreement that said, you know what, you guys are willing to put the money into this, so if we do later on mass produce it, we'll give you a cut of something. Maybe not, like I'm not saying like a
I don't
percentage
know
of
about
sales.
No, I don't think that's never happening. I think look.
I'm just saying that's the only way it would be fair, because think about it. The only reason that they're making money off of this is because we bought it.
So and it would have been the same thing. It would have been the same thing had they done the right thing, like the Ghost Project. So they came out after the project was already in stages and said, "Hey, by the way, we heard what you guys said, so we're going to mass produce Chopper and Sabine to go with the set and match card backs." But instead of saying, "Hey guys, for you guys that already backed the project, we're just going to include those figures to you guys." No. We're going to save that as an add-on you have to buy later on.
Hey, Waze, how many people backed the his tank?
I have no idea. I don't know the numbers.
Just a guess. 20,000 people?
20,000 people.
Okay, so if they create a retail version of that his tank, that's a class action lawsuit that they're going to lose.
I don't think so. Like I keep saying to you, it's
they will lose
not the same thing.
Because of everything that they said and wrote in that HasLab.
26,000.
You got to look and see the actual terms of those.
26,000 defendants, and I'm in California, so I'm going to win probably 3 or 4 times.
I'm with Waze on that. That depends on the language, and I can't imagine a company like Hasbro would open themselves. Yeah. Right. This is a quid pro quo thing. You give me money, we give you product. I mean, end of transaction, right?
Yeah, Jonathan's saying that there's some thing that a bunch of people in the industry, I don't know who,
we keep saying if they're not selling it as the exact offering, it is different offering. I don't care what you say. Legal language.
Know how that actually plays out in
legal. That's their legal loophole to it, because once they realize they can do it. Yeah. I think they're definitely going to experiment with it. Lenny was talking about the Thunder Machine. I think once they realize they could do that, and they could do the Vamp, and they could do these things, I think it changes their promise. I don't want the His Tank. I'm not concerned about the His Tank. I'm just saying, for people that want it, I don't think it's fair to not reproduce it then if you can. That's dumb.
Well, yes, I also think it's not fair that they're not reproducing a cell barge for me too, but I mean, it is what it is.
I don't collect TVC, so I could care less. They could reproduce.
I'm jealous of Dino's videos.
Right. I mean, it looks fantastic. And the thing is, it's like, but that's the whole thing about like a crowdfunding campaign, right? If you weren't in on it, it's over.
Or you were collecting.
The second-hand market is waiting for you.
You know what makes me sad is that I remember that campaign going on in real time, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to get into 3.75. And I thought it was hilarious when I saw on the Star Wars show on YouTube that they took one of the HasLab sail barges and recreated the scene where it blows up on YouTube. If you look this up on YouTube, I'm sure you can find it. It just makes me cry thinking that they blew up one of those sail barges just to
make a video.
Yeah.
Oh, were you against stuff like that? That they blew it up to make a video?
No, I thought it was hilarious at the time, but now thinking about it, I'm like, oh, there were only 8,000 of them. I'm like, oh.
Would you be against somebody taking a vintage double telescoping Darth Vader, whatever, and cutting them off the original card back just for a video?
That doesn't happen. You know what that reminds me of? If anyone reads the comics, the Star Wars comics, it's like the Ronin tag or taggy, the guy who just blows up rare artifacts. Yeah. Whatever. Maybe someone reads the comics.
I know for a fact that whatever they did with that sail barge there was extra sail barges made because they've gone up for retail recently from other places. So Somewhere,
but do you think
somebody found a bunch more of those sale barges.
But I mean, that could be like somebody like Big Bad bought a bunch, or some retailer bought a bunch. He had them in his storage. They went out of business. Somebody bought them at a, out of one of these storage locker deals. Because when I was when I was working at this comic book store, helping put up their books or whatever, the guy who ran that store got a call from his friend who was redoing a warehouse just in the next town over. And when he went over there, it used to be a warehouse for like one of these toy places. I don't know if it's Toys R Us or whatever, but inside there, he found 7 boxes of like Mego action figures from like 10, 15 years earlier, all the Star Trek.
It's possible. That's what I'm just saying.
So I'm just curious, right?
It's fully possible, but they were, and that's what Hasbro stance was. It's like, oh, they're not somebody selling them; they're somebody who purchased them. And I'm like, yeah, I find it hard to believe that Entertainment Earth just managed to show up with like 50 sale barges out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny, don't you think?
Well, I think that like it's easy for me to think that that's true because I watch Big Bad Toy Store. Right, like every time there's a HasLab, a month and a half after, they drop like 30 of them on their site or something like that. Right?
Yeah, no, and that's smart from a retail perspective if that's what you're doing. But I just found that odd, the timing that like however many years later, all of a sudden somebody found like another 100 and something sale barges to sell. It's like, okay.
Well, did they have 100?
I don't know what the actual stock was, but they were up there for quite some time before they went.
Well, they could have had like 5 and people just weren't buying them.
Maybe. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because what were they selling them for?
Well, they went up on multiple retailers. So like Star Action Figures over in the UK had them up. So it was just like, it was a weird timing thing. And then same thing happened with Galactus and the Sentinel. It was like just mass selling off of these HasLabs that were already produced and been out.
To be honest, I mean, like that Sentinel, I sat in my garage for a couple of years before somebody hit me up on it, right? Like because I wanted to get a certain amount for it, and I said no to a bunch of people, and finally somebody hit the price that I was asking, and I was like, yeah, come get it, whatever. So I can see that like, and my neighbor down the street, he has 2 sale barges that are like in his garage up in the rafters. So he's holding on to those, and then he'll probably turn one of those around. But when's the best time to sell something like that?
Well, that sale barge is already like it's going for almost $2,000. So it's
yeah, but I mean, there's a part of the year or a part of something that would make that one be worth more. And with 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, if it was getting close to this year, that's the perfect time to like throw them back out there, right?
Or if that Guillermo del Toro Jabba the Hutt movie does end up getting made at some point, that'd be a spike in that where you would see that sale barge probably double or quadruple at that point.
Sure. I mean, you saw what happened with Steve-O from collecting Star Wars YouTube, right? As soon as they showed that N1 Starfighter on the book of, or on The Mandalorian or whatever,
he picked the vintage one up for like $20. Yeah.
And then the next day you couldn't find one on eBay for like under 200. Yeah. Right. I mean, because everybody was like, oh, I got to have a Starfighter. And it's almost, it's just works out that way.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately like that's collecting in a nutshell. Is like when something pops. So same thing with comic books, same thing with toys.
Oh yeah,
like first appearance of so and so, and it's like, oh, here we go. This is now a $100 figure, from a $5 clearance figure, and that's what
Super
happens.
John runs down to the comic book store and buys like these first appearance character books, right? And then as soon as they show them on Marvel, a Marvel show, the next thing you know, they're worth money.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? I never heard of this guy.
That's what I do with a lot of comics, like especially like, oh, they're gonna make this story into a movie. All right, put the lot up for sale on eBay and see how much it goes. You know what I mean? Like that's usually what I'll do in that regard. Yeah. But unfortunately, Black
who knows what he's holding on to? Because every once in a while he throws stuff up there.
He's got all kinds of stuff, yeah. But like, unfortunately for us, like for Black Series collectors, not a lot of it's worth anything. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not. There's no value on the secondhand market for a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, like I used to buy.
But if that's the reason you're collecting or holding on to stuff, that's you're in the wrong. You're
With Black
you're
Series,
you're making the wrong investments. Toy
Yeah.
collecting, like unless it's like incredibly rare vintage stuff, like modern toys, like is the wrong investment to be making.
And I agree with you, Eric. That the thing is, you don't know what's going to be valuable, like in 5 years, right? Like, especially with these GI Joe figures, right? Like,
they're still valuable now on second resale. That's the one thing with Joe is like Joe is even if say you bought a majority of them, I'd say there's a handful of them that have made their way into clearance and stuff like that. But the prior stuff, they're all still very pricey because
you mean the first waves and stuff like that.
The Cobra Island stuff, all that early stuff that came out that people now are getting into the line and can't get. So it's like those figures are worth a lot of money.
That first Snake Eyes, that 0-0 box, right? That was only available on Pulse for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it came with like a super fancy box and stuff like that. I was super excited when that thing came out.
That was cool.
And then to find out like, oh, this thing's pretty valuable now. But who would have known, like, you know, when I bought the Emperor with his throne, you know, off of Amazon, and I got 2 of them, and I was like, oh, what do I do with this next one? I'll just put it on eBay or whatever. Who knew that like 2 years later, then all of a sudden it was going to be even more valuable? I didn't know.
And that's still one of the most valuable things in Black Series. There's literally like only a handful of stuff. That's unfortunate. Like in Black Series, it's like the Thrawn set from SDCC, the that Palpatine, Gina Carano, and the first version of her figure, Cara Dune. Trying to think what else. There's really not much. I think Slave Leia, and that's about it. Like there's only a handful of stuff, and it's unfortunate when you look at other lines like Marvel Legends. There's a ton of like current new figures that go for quite a lot. You know what I mean? It's just
there's a ton of them that go for like pennies now. But you just never gonna know. Never gonna know.
Yep.
But I would never. I would never fault Hasbro for reproducing any different.
Well,
because investing in toys is dumb, in my opinion.
Yes and no. So it depends on like what.
Dan's like, excuse me. Have you seen my entire basement?
I think.
Well, I mean, I have toys, but I have them for like my personal enjoyment, trying to hold on to them in the hope that they appreciate and value to sell later on. That I'm not I'm not here trying to give financial advice to anyone, but like if you're trying to like, this is your kind of legacy or whatever you're gonna leave to your estate.
No, Eric, I got to hold on to these things until I can make mass profit on them.
Well, a couple of years, but you got what you wanted.
That's why I rip all the heads off and swap them around and paint them because I'm trying to make them more valuable.
And so there are things. There are things that I will buy and hold on to, and there are other things that I know, like Black Series, for instance, that have no value. So
look, I always say this: like, there's going to come a time when none of this stuff is really going to be worth that much because
there'll be something new or something else.
Younger and younger generations, and people are good with like a picture of it or something on their phone that they can just have. You know, they don't need that tangible anymore. So it's like stuck with a certain generation almost, right? Like I feel like,
and that's even now, like that's why like the vintage retro stuff is of value because there's people like us that are, you know, either trying to collect stuff from their childhood or trying to finish stuff out. Like that's the stuff that's valuable. Nostalgia, like we keep saying, we went back when we were talking about television. Nostalgia is valuable at this point in the generation of the world. Like that's why they keep pumping all these old things out, is because they realize that like, oh, people buy stuff just off nostalgia. They'll go see something, they'll go do something just based off something they saw when they were a child or something that they couldn't have when they were a kid.
Connor.
I'm still waiting for my
a lot older than that.
Show me your Wawa coffee. Yeah, it's okay. The Christmas cup.
Yeah, I'm decorating for Christmas tomorrow.
All right, this weekend is Legion's Con. Anybody following the stuff over there?
No, but our buddy AJ's over there. He actually won a contest, and he's at the con. He interned at Four Horsemen Studios for the Thursday and Friday, and then is working at the con. So
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know they were even like local. Like I didn't realize they were here in New Jersey.
Would you have went up there if you knew it was in like an hour away? Would you have had ahead of time, or were you thinking about it?
No. So I don't collect Mythic Legions. So there's a store that's in the same town, like where Four Horsemen Studios is, and there's a store that basically sells them, and I've seen them. And so like that's when I found out that like, oh, that makes sense why they have such a close relationship with that store that's in that town. So it was like it like the light bulb went off for me of like, oh, okay, now I get it, of like why it's kind of a niche thing up in that area of New Jersey. Like there's a lot of people like Alan Rappa and a couple other people that we know that like are into that because they live right in that area. You know what I mean? So they've been watching that company since the company started and came out.
Eric, what is this video you want me to pull up?
Oh, no, I just sent the video of the Star Wars show blowing up the sail barge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I've been having some trouble like when I try to like share like a different screen or something like that from my computer. Like I go into my other browser, it's been stalling me out, so I'm not going to be doing that. But if you want to pull it up and share it, share. Screen,
oh no,
you can throw
no,
it
I was just I can go back in the chat and share it with people. If you go on YouTube and search Star Wars show sail barge, it'll show up. It's a cool video if you haven't seen it.
There's a lot of our friends that are into Mythic Legions and collect them. But yeah, they're cool. I'm just the only thing I think I was tempted to pick up from them was the Headless Horseman because that just looked really really awesome. But,
it does.
Yeah. Do you have that, Dandy, or?
No, I missed it.
Okay.
I'm not willing to pay the secondary market prices.
Yeah. G-Force is 87. Brian's action figure reviews has 1 Mythic Legions figures. It's amazing, but they're too expensive. Neil Cox, welcome to the show. I don't think we've seen you in the chat before, so welcome. He's saying everything from the 80s wasn't entirely original, and there were many sequels. Oh, he's catching up on the show. Yeah. The 80s did a lot of remakes as well.
He's not wrong.
Mythic Legion stuff is sweet. Very hard to get over here for non-stupid money. And Mr. B is saying, I want that Headless Horseman.
Yeah, that would have been a nice like Halloween decoration,
Sure. I looked at it last year. I wanted it, but it was not too much. But
see, I have a limit of what I'm willing to spend on stuff. Like especially like collecting multiple lines. Like I can't I can't do Sideshow and Hot Toys and all of that stuff. Like that's just way out of my range of collecting. You know what I mean?
All right, so let's take a look at this week's reveals. If you guys want, you can play along in the chat and decide whether or not you think it's hot, not for you, whether you're interested, not interested. As you probably could have guessed, there's going to be a lot of Mythic Legions in this.
Vern, you got to expand the slide if it's more than just hot or not and all the other options you were.
I know. I'm going to have to update.
Hot or not or red.
All right. So, anybody know what this guy's name is?
Looks like a
Viking bull bag. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I like the backpack to hold all his stuff.
So
it's
like,
not like your traditional just sleeve.
This is them like diving into like gods and legends type stuff as opposed
it looks
to like
cool. It looks cool. I'm not. But like he said, I think this guy's like $50 or something like that. So not really for me.
Yeah, they're expensive. That's what keeps me away from it. Plus, like it's not something that I need. You know what I mean? I have no attachment to any of these characters or things, so it's just like it's
Death
just
Metal
buying stuff to buy stuff.
I will tell you, it looks great though.
Oh yeah, it looks awesome. Don't get me wrong. That's what just for me personally, like if I don't have an attachment or like anything, like Headless Horseman is one thing because of like the legend and the story that goes along with it. Because
you're a big fan of Rip Van Winkle and the whole
and Sleepy Hollow and
two completely different stories, right?
Yeah,
that figure had 2 different shoes on though. If you notice, that's not very practical. If you go back.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Well, one's metal. It's probably a metal leg, is what they're probably trying to get at.
Yeah, it goes up to his knee.
Yeah, it's probably not even like his leg.
Okay.
It's probably like he's a pirate. Instead of wearing a peg leg, he's got like a titanium.
If I was that guy, probably not the most practical.
No, you can't run with that. He's going to need that little spring. Anyways, this guy looks pretty cool too. I do like the helmet.
The classic kind of Viking look. Yeah.
If you like these like this time period stuff, these figures look really cool. If you have like your red stone there or whatever, right, they would fit totally in. Let's see, you can switch around the pieces on them. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, I knew they were like interchangeable.
Like Global Mythic's answer will be hot, but not for me. All right.
Yeah, like they look great. That's what I'm saying. They look awesome. They look really cool. It's just it's not something that I'm like utterly interested in.
So this guy's pretty cool. And didn't Marvel have like a figure that she had like 6 arms with swords? I could see the 2 of them battling it out. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would look
Spiral.
No.
Spiral.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. He kind of reminds me of the dude from the Ninja Turtles a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like a mix of Shredder with like his body looks like very Ninja Turtle-y, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially with the extra little hands, the Miggs Mayfield arms. Yeah,
Fomorian Sea Devil, yeah.
All right, and then they had a couple of dwarfs or whatever, right? These are littler people. So they're selling them in a 2-pack, but they're just as expensive as if they were 2 individual figures. So that was kind of weird.
That's something that you know, Hasbro needs to take consideration of. Is like, hey, they're giving us these little figures. You should be adding
more 2 half-size figures together and then charged double what you would pay for a full-size figure. So it's not like they packed 2 smaller figures together.
I thought they packed like 2 for the charge of the price of 1. Okay, all right. Because I was saying that with like Anakin, like why little Annie didn't come with Watto, like that would have been a no-brainer, right? To just pack the one box and call it a day.
Let's see, it's a Rosie and Jim. Based on the people from Cork. These are bad. So this is kind of cool too. Is this kind of like give you that same like Ninja Turtles or something feel to it too, or
it almost looks like Darth Revan with a crossbow?
Could be, right? Could this be like a really cool like put it in your Star Wars? Give them a character a lightsaber or something.
A lot of things to it, I think.
Yeah, like that's the one cool thing about like Mythic Legions, I guess, is that like you can like depending on what you collect, like they'll fit in with other stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you're like into Thor, you could buy a lot of these characters and like have a cool Thor display. You know what I mean? Or what Assassin's Creed, like G-Force was saying.
Yeah, there you go. Assassin's Creed. Connor showing that it's hot. He loves this one. Looks like Raven from DC.
That too. Yeah, that's a nice little mix match of stuff, and like I like the fact that like they are using these licenses from stuff that's open basically, you know, because you can't trademark stories and stuff like that. So it's like you can use all these mythological creatures and you know tales to create action figures. Which is cool.
I'm not 100% sold on like all the cloth on here though. Honestly, for me.
Is it bendy wire in the capes?
It looks like there's bendy wire in them, so it is an upgrade from just having cloth because you can shape it out and stuff like that. I just think that over time, right? It's not going to hold up.
Yeah.
Not here in my work area where I got stuff with like where I got like just like heads and stuff rolling around on the table, you know, and stuff like that. Like,
That's the age-old debate though for even Black Series is some people hate the soft goods, some people love the soft goods and want the hard goods stuff. It's a common thing that goes around like with that type of stuff.
Well, that's new, like goat heads on.
This guy actually looks kind of cool with the hooves and everything.
Yeah, like an orc type thing. Yeah,
but the weapon is like 2 goat heads. on his shack.
Oh, the weapon.
Yeah, look at the head of the.
He won. He won.
Yeah.
He beat the other goats. That's what happened.
But how do you?
Well, I mean, come on. Bowler
biological
girl buried her dad's head in a bowling ball.
Like if you like, okay, if you take like 2 goat heads and sew them up or whatever, right, to some metal plate, even if like that's like a one hit and done thing, because that thing is like flying up, each goat head's flying up. That's not very practical. I don't buy that personally.
What
Even
you're
with the
saying
armor
is-
holding them together.
Eric, are you saying that this is a bad idea?
Maybe it's not necessarily a weapon. Maybe it's just a staff.
I mean, like the anthropomorphic like cow beast thing, fine, but like I draw the line at the goat head like weapon, the dual goat head.
So that's a deal breaker for you. You are almost gonna get it if not for that weapon piece.
Even if you're into like God of War, like these would be cool with like those figures too. You know what I mean? Like, so there are definitely uses for them in like what you're doing.
Totally see that as a God of War villain. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you could easily take some photos of Kratos fighting that thing and like some of these other different things. So like it definitely works. I think it just depends on like what you're collecting for it to work in your collection.
Let's see, it's a Minotaur. It's totally feasible.
Unless you have like some attachment.
You know what?
Is it though?
These are the goats that try to come under his bridge.
Yeah.
Grumpy Minotaur that lived under the bridge.
All right. So, what do you think about these like skeleton figures? You know, these guys that look like skulls. Because I know that there's another company that comes out with them, right? They're like the skeletons with the swords. How does a skeleton move its arm?
It's got to have ligaments and tendons. And shit,
exactly.
right?
Like
yeah,
there's no muscle to do the counter pull. The skeleton's not moving around.
I don't buy it for a second, Vern, unless you got like some like magic kind of like effects, like binding the bones together that you could see like some green smoke kind of
like night sister magic.
yeah. But otherwise this like bag of bones would just
fall on the ground and get eaten by a rancor.
Voodoo magic, you know?
Looks cool though. Not
does.
very practical.
Yeah, that's practical. Yeah, some collectible stuff would look good with this. Yeah.
How does he eat too? Because
what scale are these? Are these 7-inch or 6-inch?
I think they're 6. Somebody can answer that, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have any Mythic Legends, so Legions or whatever. So I'm imagining.
What did Connor say? Go back to Connor's comment. What did he say?
I'm only leaving him up there. This
just
one,
just like the owl and the Ahsoka.
he just kind of started. Yeah, Minotaur. Yeah, okay. I did say it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll say it again. Minotaur.
Okay.
Tell me how to pronounce it.
Minotaur.
Nah, I think you guys are wrong.
Haven't you ever watched Jason and the Argonauts?
Is that animated?
No. That's like your time. That's like that came out.
Aren't animated with stop motion.
Like we said,
it has no shoes.
Yeah, this looks like that Monkey King that they did, like just different. You know what I mean?
Well, it looks like a green, like Japanese oni type of mask.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you why, like something like this actually like appeals to me is because when I was a kid, I had this book called Japanese Children's Favorite Stories or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite stories is about a kid who sets off to make his fortune. He's born of a peach. It's the Peach Boy. And at one part, he sets off on this adventure to go to where all the ogres are or whatever. And he meets like a monkey and a sparrow or whatever. And he gives them all dumplings along the way. And they go and they fight all these creatures. And the artwork in there makes me, this is what I see when I see the artwork of the guys on the island and stuff like that they're fighting. It's kind of cool to think.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why this stuff appeals to certain people, is because like, especially like say Hercules, you have an attachment to Hercules and you've always loved the story. Once they start doing characters that fit like Hercules and those types of tales, now you're going to be in on it. You know what I mean? So like, it is cool. And I definitely see the appeal, especially like the quality that they're made with. That's why they're so expensive. It's just, Yeah, I guess you got to be open to collecting those types of stuff.
Right. Brian's helping me with the pronunciation, so he also says Minotaur, and G4 says Minotaur as well.
There was no E on the end of that. That was Minotaur.
Yeah, Minotaur.
Oh, well, the O makes the I long.
Minotaur.
All right, and then
this is cool. This looks like very like Valhalla Vikings, you know.
Skyrim.
right.
Yeah, yeah. She's
See, and I
cool.
don't think this doesn't really have any like soft goods on it or anything like that.
No, but this looks badass. Like this would work for multiple things again.
Right,
So
yeah. Like if you wanted to start a Xena Warrior Princess line.
Yeah. See, why isn't stuff like that is a no-brainer? Like we were talking about bringing back some stuff, like licenses like that, or like I don't know why anybody's not touching any of that stuff because that was gold for a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably somebody out there looking to do it. It's just a matter of like whether or not they think there's an audience for it, right? There's probably people thinking about it. It's the same thing as like apparently, you know, when you're buying a license, you got to have money up front, and then you got to wish that hopefully there'll be people that want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But see, like this would be the perfect company to like, you know, maybe pick up those licenses of Hercules and Xena and like even what was the one Sean really wanted? Clash of the Titans, right? Like,
me too. Clash of the Titans from the 1980s version, not that newer remake.
Like these wouldn't be a bad this wouldn't be a bad company to maybe get those licenses and start playing around with some of those characters in this line. Like that's a great idea.
My problem is if Mythic Legions decided to do that original Clash of the Titans, I have a feeling we would end up with the remake versions again. You know what I mean? Like
you get a more modern, take on it. Yeah.
And I think that for Sean and me, I'm thinking I want a remake of the Harry Hamlin version. You know what I mean? That looks like an old 80s, got that feel to it and stuff. Not the modern one. That looks fantastic. That was fantastic, but that old style is where the nostalgia is at.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of complaints on this. It's the shield needs a wrist loop. Poor articulation in the knees is what I saw here, and elbows. Yeah, so
I think this would be the one out of all of them that like I would be most tempted by, I guess, because it is like multi and looks pretty badass. Like
that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
And then of course they have a horse with it's not a Pegasus, right? When it has like a no,
unicorn.
It's a unicorn when it has the horn.
Minocorn.
Oh, because all on the head, huh? The hair are little horns.
Yeah, that's cool looking though.
Well, that looks like it's just like metal on the mane.
I mean, the horses are pretty cool, but like when you could go and get something for $18 on Amazon, you don't need a Mythic Legions horse.
Yeah. But if you're trying to do something like this where like it matches whatever you're putting on it, or you know what I mean, fits in with your theme of it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What matches with this though?
I don't know. Are there figures?
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
I'm assuming there's some sort of figure that goes along with this though, or like something in their color schemes that probably fit
One of these guys. Let's go back. Probably either
a lot of the
on the horse. No, he has a skeleton horse, or maybe this one. Maybe this guy.
I think the Japanese one, the like Japanese Oni, like demon, the green face.
Because I think the skeleton guy. Oh, okay. So Left Coast is saying the skeleton guy rides it, but I thought that I saw a skeleton horse also, but I don't know if that was from this weekend or not. But anyway.
I could see like those couple ones definitely going cool with this, and then there's also the other thing that I'm sure you're going to show in this wave as well.
Yeah. Okay, so there's one more I think from the Mythic Legions, and it was of course this thing right here, which
that's
is
cool.
Pretty cool.
That is freaking wicked.
And again, like this multi-use, like you could put this with anything if you really wanted to.
If that saddle comes off, because I know they had one that was like standing up and it was like taller than everything, and I don't know if it was this at all or if it's a different one that was like standing. Maybe somebody can tell me if that standing one is something
if that
else.
saddle comes off, that's awesome. Like that'd be perfect, because then you could again buy it for Joe's, buy it for Legends, buy it for whatever. That's cool.
Yeah, this is actually really, really cool. G-Force is like, no one will buy this bear.
Oh no, I think people are gonna buy this.
What?
I think he's being like facetious. All right, skeleton horses from D&D. Okay, thank you. I did see a picture of that. I didn't grab it though. And Left Coast is saying yes, the saddle comes off, so that's pretty cool. I mean,
this is
yeah.
I want to point something out on
the bear.
Yeah, on the bear.
Okay, go ahead. What's wrong?
No. I'm trying to give credit on this. The front right, like what would it be, like the shoulder joint?
Okay.
It looks like it's textured for the fur. I don't see that on when you look at the front right wrist one. It doesn't look like that one's textured, but that one is, and I don't think I've seen joints like that on other toys, like decoed.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Kind of fit in. If you look at like what I'm getting at is like look at like the Black Series Endor Trooper. They didn't extend the camo, like on the knee joint, but like that's attention to detail. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So what it looks like is on the right paw, the one that you're looking at there, where you're saying it maybe doesn't look like it has a texture. There is texture on the outside of the paw, but where that little circle
joint,
the piece, this little skinny part looks smoother. But the rest.
It looks like this, but it looks like the similar point on the like front left shoulder. That
that
where has it. Yeah,
where the elbow joint is, it does have it.
Yeah,
this would definitely be cool though. Like especially like with Snow Job, like getting this bear and taking the saddle off of it and posing some pictures like of him,
if you painted it like a polar bear. I put him with Recondo or something.
Yeah, same thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just cool. Like I was hoping that Joe was gonna do something like this, like with a bear, or, you know.
Yeah, I was too, because right now the only bear I got is this dude, and he doesn't crawl around like a bear.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I've never like really liked any of those, because they're like creatures, but they're not.
But that's supposed to be anthropomorphic, right? So.
Yeah.
And I was saying shoulder. You're right. That's an elbow, not a shoulder.
And like this would even work with like Lord of the Rings stuff. This works with a lot of different stuff, so I could definitely see this being like the hot seller out of the wave.
Gotta get going.
Left Coast. Okay.
All right. See you, Danny.
See you, Danny. Left Coast is saying that the bear will be repainted in the future. It's going to become a panda.
Polar bear.
Yeah. Polar bear, panda, all kinds of stuff. You definitely have some options for it.
Bear. Oh yeah, put him in a spacesuit. That would be cool.
Neon green bear.
Space Viking.
Radiation bear.
Yeah, Weapon X.
Oh, okay, I get it. G-Force said nobody was going to buy them. He's just trying to like dissuade people's interest so they go on clearance. All right.
I definitely think they're cool. You know, like that's a cool one. Anytime any company does like any of the animals, I think that's what really got me into Joe, was just the fact of like, hey, they're gonna start doing all these cool animals. Like, yeah, I'm in on that. You know?
Yeah. No, I totally. Okay, so then I guess Mondo is doing their 1/6 scale. You know, they have their Masters of the Universe line. So I guess this is a tease. I have no idea what it's supposed to be.
Panther.
Oh, I just messed around. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So I'm imagining it will look really close to the Battle Cat, only he'll be purple.
Yeah. And then I give, you know, like we've been giving them props on their 1/6 stuff. It all looks incredible. I'm not in on any of it, but it all looks like
it looks great. Like Sean got one, and he said, I guess there was some paint rub and a little bit of articulation issue, but otherwise it was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Mythic Legion Santa riding that bear holding an M16. Yeah,
that would look cool. Or even those big bad toy store Santas. That would look awesome with that too.
Yeah, I did throw up a comic kind of book that's going to be coming out next year. This is Marvel's going to be doing a hardback of the original Marvel years for Godzilla coming up.
Oh wow, nice. That'll be a nice collection.
So is this something you will pick up?
Not me, but I'm not that into Godzilla. Like I like the movies. I'll definitely. I want to see that new movie that they're coming out with. But
the show or
there's a TV show coming out. Oh,
yeah,
the movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The Japanese.
The Japanese.
Yes, it looks good also.
Yeah, I got to check out the Kurt Russell and his son
Monarch
show too. Yeah, I liked all those Godzilla movies that they did. You know, the King of Monsters and Godzilla vs Kong, and I know they're doing another Godzilla vs Kong. Oh, the perfect person for Godzilla just popped in. Cat's a huge Godzilla fan, so yeah.
So I put this up. I think it's pretty cool. I'll probably pick it up just because it's Godzilla. I think it's going to be a book,
especially to have this collected, like you know what I mean, and like. I know for you, like you were into Godzilla like growing up, so like this would be a perfect thing for you.
Here's the part that's like kind of interesting about Godzilla, right? Like growing up, I watched all these shows in Japan, but they were all in Japanese, so I never really understood what was going on. Just had to like imagine what the conversation was based on like how the story kind of played out visually. Yeah. So Ultraman used to fight a Godzilla-like character, and it wasn't until I was older that I didn't realize that he never fought Godzilla. The creature that was in the Ultraman movies or Ultraman show was not Godzilla. It was the suit that was borrowed from the other company, but they gave him a different name because they weren't allowed to use the name Godzilla or whatever because of trademark, whatever. So stuff you don't find out till you're older. Like, I always thought Ultraman defeated Godzilla every week. Are you into these?
This is cool. Baxter Stockman from the Secret of the Ooze, and it's a 2-pack with the two of them. I think that's a great idea. This is going to be their Black Friday, I guess, item on NECA.
Right. Somebody was asking for an orange jumpsuit earlier. Oh, that was Dan. He left. Darn it.
Yeah, no, it looks cool. So I know Eric's got his NECA stuff, and I'm sure. Did you get your turtle van yet, or is that on the way?
No, I haven't received an update on that.
I thought they were. People were getting emails saying that they were shipping out.
Well, they've been sending emails like maybe once every other week or something, saying they're shipping out, but they didn't. They basically said you're not going to know when you're getting yours, essentially, which is like
it's a secret.
They're taking a really long time with this. So if anyone complains about like how Hasbro ships out like HasLabs, NECA's
I think what you should do is make a video of yourself going to your mailbox every day and counting down like day 237 waiting on my NECA van.
So the big reason for this is like I've got this one shelf in one of my toy cabinets where I've got the 30th anniversary Power Rangers, and I'm gonna have just the rest of the space occupied by the Turtles. Just how I'm like shifting things around.
Ninja Turtles versus Turtles.
It's
because Power Rangers Turtles crossed over.
I totally do it, dude. I'm in for it.
It's just space management more than anything, but
but still they crossed over, so it works.
But I have the cartoon Turtles 4-pack that I just haven't opened yet. I said I'm not going to open this until I get my turtle van. And
I'm waiting for the open. They said they're doing they showed them off at
the single pack, San Diego Comic-Con. I'm
gonna try to go in on the 4 of them and this way have like a definitive Turtles to display.
I'm not sure they've posted like when those are going to be up for sale or where they're going to be.
I know Blaine said Target, and they would be like a wide release. They're not going to be like exclusive to anything. So, because they wanted to make sure that everyone was able to get them. So like that's going to be cool.
Because I know it wasn't easy to get the cartoon Turtle 4-pack from Target. Yeah.
No, and like I haven't seen the cartoon turtles at all since. Like that was the one and only time that you were able to get them, and at the time, like I just was tight on
Well,
money.
they did the other one with the trench coats. That was, I think, the only.
Yeah, that one was everywhere though, wasn't it?
And like I've been trying to, so like I've been wanting to get a set. I picked up the Secret of the Ooze 2-packs for a buddy of mine, and they just never came back in stock on Walmart. So I've been like, I was like, I really would have loved to like pick up just the set to have, like I said, just to have one definitive Turtles like set. I don't need all the side characters and everything. I just want the 4 of them.
I'm not even getting like Splinter, Shredder, April, and Crane or Casey Jones or any of that.
Because they're going to be in the rest of the reveals here, Eric. I'm just kidding. There's no more turtle stuff in this reveal.
I gotta say, so like my first NECA purchase recently, I picked up Chucky, and I was really happy with it, and it was the first NECA product that I've ever bought. So it's pretty cool.
All right. What about these McFarlanes here? Interested? Nobody?
Nah, not this.
I think everybody just kind of like leaves the McFarlanes until they go on clearance, right?
So like even for me, like I saw the Batman Forever wave went up, and or Batman and Robin wave went up, and they all jumped another $5 a piece. So like that put me off from ordering any of them. Seeing that like, oh, McFarlane jumped his prices up to now 26 a figure, it's like, yeah, they're not worth that to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's cheap plastic. You really can't articulate them very well. You can just kind of get them in a standard pose and leave them. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, I picked up very few. I got that one Supergirl figure, but like, I want to get a couple off that new Batman wave, but not if they're going to look as bad as that other one did.
Yeah, no, and like even with the animated wave, I would have been all in on those animated ones, because I missed being able to get the animated ones, you know, when they were on those smaller cars. And like, I don't know, just the fact that they're $30 a piece, it's like, man, I can't do it. I can't spend $30 like that. You know what I mean?
What about this Mezco Joker?
This is cool, really, really cool. But again, you got to be more classic Batman for this to fit.
This Joker face really takes me back to that the Mego.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of like it. Oh, ways left. Oh. And then what about this? This is the only Marvel Legends I think pop up in a couple of weeks, right? Did they run out of figures to show us?
Yeah. I don't necessarily like that. Looks like what kind of soft plastic cape, something like that.
It does look like a formed plastic cape, which I'm not interested in. Being in a formed like that with like a wave. I wish they would have just made it like symmetrical.
Because that's kind of like what Magneto is.
Yeah.
And it looks all right, but it just ends up eating up space that you don't necessarily want in the shelf. I don't know.
All right, that was it for the reveals. I guess the waves dropped out. You want to show us that Alf that you were just trying to show us? I'll make you full screen.
No, I've just been. This isn't the exclusive one. This was just. It took ages to get this from Entertainment Earth, but.
That's a cool one.
Did they drive it over to your house personally? Is that why?
That's what happens with Entertainment Earth. They literally put it in a DHL truck and drive it across the country.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, good memories watching Alf as a kid. So I wanted to get it. I just need. I've been too lazy to unbox it though, because I'm not going to keep it boxed up. It's cool packaging, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did with the Chucky. I picked up the Chucky. I was really into watching the new show. I binged it on Peacock, and then I said the same thing. I was like, you know what? Let me open him and just see like what the NECA figures feel like and how they move and stuff like that. And I was impressed with it. I thought it was cool. Not necessarily that I would spend again that type of money on like a figure, but cool.
Yeah. The only other NECA things I think I would look at getting if there's the Iron Maiden figures, the Eddie.
Yeah.
Some of those would be pretty cool to have, but
I want to pick
So
up the Willie Nelson for my mom. She's a big Willie Nelson fan, so I was like, I thought that would be a cool, like, little Christmas present for her, along with some of her other stuff. It was just like having that. She could put it in her display case and stuff. All the different memorabilia she's got.
So StreamYards has a little thing that said if somebody's working on an Android, they're going to have issues, and then they blamed it on Chrome. And my thing just stalled again. So that is like 4 weeks in a row that this thing has stalled around the same time. So I don't know what it is. I know that I have plenty of room in my RAM. I know I have plenty of room on the hard drive. So I don't know
could be leaking memory.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like it has something to do with Chrome or StreamYards.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, do you guys have anything coming up this week?
I'm not sure. I did film a video for the Crimson pack. I just didn't put it up, but these are really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I was really impressed with the 3-pack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like the fact that they gave you like the multiple heads for Baroness, and like you could basically update the other one, which I did. Yeah, the case is awesome, isn't it? Like the way it comes.
I passed.
Did you? I'm surprised because to me it was worth it. It was really like for the Baroness upgrade. And like being able to upgrade the old Baroness too with the extra head. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Chuckles though for me is right up there for figure of the year in my opinion. Like he was awesome, dude. Like I couldn't get over how great he came out.
Unless they do more like Crimson themed stuff. I'm out of Joe's now, so like my display is kind of set, and I think I'm pretty happy with it. I should take a picture.
You just did Cobra, right? Like no Joe's.
With the exception of Snake Eyes and the Kamakura. I just like some of the like ninjas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want Cobra plus some of the ninjas, but that was it. Yeah.
I'm very selective with Joe's. Like I do have the next wave coming because all of those were like ones for me. Like I definitely been wanting to do the Dreadnoughts and then General Hawk and stuff like that. But I didn't do Shockwave. I didn't do like the Mole Rat.
General Hawk already?
What happened?
You got General Hawk already?
No. For me, that whole wave still has to come. I haven't gotten any of those figures yet.
Somebody had them in stock. That's why I was like,
Entertainment Earth has them in stock. Big Bad Toy Store had them in stock. GameStop has them listed for the end of this month, and Amazon still got them listed for December 4th or something like that.
Entertainment Earth is funny because they're based out of just out of LA.
Yes.
But it takes a week for stuff to get to me from them. Yeah. It just makes no sense to me. I'm like, where are they driving this stuff to?
Yeah, it takes 2 weeks from any time I buy anything from Entertainment Earth. They take my money right away, and then it literally takes 2 to 3 weeks before it gets here from California. Because like I said, they put it in a DHL truck and drive it across the country. So it's like, it's the worst.
And then they stop at every 7-Eleven, by the way, to pick up a soda.
I made a vow to myself not to try to order from them anymore, simply because like I don't like their policy of like if you cancel something, they try to charge you for the shipping, even if you're way over the threshold for the free shipping. Like it's just like, man, I'm already paying you more money than what the shipping is. Like I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm. Eric, you got any videos coming out this week?
No, but I did get a new Christmas ornament.
That's really
nubs. So.
I like it.
Oh, nubs. That's cool. That's cool.
I gotta watch the new episodes of Young Jedi Adventures because they have a Life Day one. So
okay.
So I have one it's gonna post tomorrow morning. It's a Beast of the Mesozoic. It's an actual one of the dinosaurs from the Creative Beast Studios when David Silva was on. So it's their stuff. It's a 1/18th scale, but I took a look at it, and then that'll be tomorrow.
Nice. Cool. That'll be cool.
All right. So unless you guys got something else, I'm gonna sign us off.
Yeah, no, I think we touched everything this week. And then yeah, got the holidays coming up, got a bunch of stuff. When do you guys usually decorate? Are you guys like late decorators, early decorators?
Decorate for Thanksgiving?
Either that or Christmas, whatever.
I usually go I usually do my my Christmas tree after Thanksgiving. But
Okay.
I'll probably do it before. I was thinking about doing it last weekend or this weekend, but I'm taking the week of Thanksgiving off plus this upcoming Friday, so I'll just do it like in a week.
Nice. Good
Yeah.
for you, Aaron. Good for you.
Yeah, I'll probably start tomorrow, I think.
I'm gonna decorate for Thanksgiving on the morning of Thanksgiving. Then I'll pretty much be done with decorations for the year. Anyways, I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat for coming along and chatting along with Toy Duo or team. Yep. And thanks, guys, for joining me this week and talking about stuff. And we had a pretty heated debate earlier. Is everybody okay?
That was heated. We've had heated debates.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week on the Toy Duo.
Toys, 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 toys.
I think I cut you off. Sorry, wait.
Toys, toys, toys.